Welcome to Monday Night Live, the weekly training that guides professionals to financial prosperity. Join our community and start building your wealth.
Okay, it's 7:05, guys, so we're going to get started here. Tonight, this is for everybody. Even if you're in a different brokerage, it's okay, because what I'm going to show you, I want everybody to think of this as a working session. So go ahead, and if you can open up another browser session and go into your CRM. So some of you have Bold Trail, that's what I use, and I'll use that as the example. Some of you are on Lofty, all right? Some of you, if you're from KW, might still be on Command. And I know we could talk on days about that. Don't really. I'm just glad I'm not using that anymore. But it's there, and that's what you got. And some of you are top producer. But what I'm going to show you is the fundamentals, things you should be doing no matter what system you're on. And a lot of them are so much alike. The terminology I'm going to use, you're going to be able to apply it to your CRM, right? In the methodology. It might have a different look, but you're going to have automated campaigns, just like Bold Trail. You're going to have a process to upload records singly and in mass, just like Bold Trail. And remember, I've taught real estate for a lot of years, really every single state in the country in 3 Canadian provinces. So while I can't remember all the systems I had to learn, I can tell you they're similar enough that tonight you want to just do the work while we're in class. I promise I'll slow it down a step or two so you can keep up. If you have a question, feel free to please unmute yourself and go ahead and speak up. Don't feel bad if you interrupt me, because I'll keep blabbing away. But I want to make sure you guys are keeping up, especially the newer folks. Okay, this is really important tonight. If you nail this, the rest of your year is going to be a lot easier. I can promise you that. So before we get started, I always like to ask: is there anything does anybody have something they're working on that you need help with, like a transaction, a client? We can troubleshoot and problem solve. I like to do that in the beginning if it's possible, because everybody learns from it, right? And if you'd rather wait to the end, that's fine too. I'll stay on after class, and I'll do some Q&A, and it'll just be open mic. We'll just hang out and loosen up your tie, and we'll get some stuff done that way too. So in any case, let me go ahead and make sure I'm in. So I'm going to share my screen here. And let me get back to, okay. First things first, I'm going to go into the Bold Trail. Okay, this is the system I use, and at our brokerage here, EXP, we have a choice. We can use Bold Trail, Lofty, something called Close, and there's another one called Follow Up Boss, and those are paid services extra. We get Lofty and Bold Trail for not, well, we pay $85 a month, but essentially we get it for free. Otherwise, you'd be paying $600 a month for this stuff, and it's very sophisticated. So I like to do these working sessions every now and then, at least once or twice a quarter, if not once a month, just to help keep you focused on the most basic things, right? All the extra things we can add on later or one-on-ones, okay? The advanced stuff, depending on where you are in your market, where you are in your career. It's marketing can and should be customized based on where you are geographically again, and where you are in your business. An advanced strategy is not going to make sense for a newer agent. It's just not. And by the way, a little pop quiz here. I want you to type in your answer when you have the answer. How many marketing campaigns could you run at any given time? And just type in the answer in the chat box. How many campaigns should you run at any given time? Could be 1, could be 5, could be 10. I just want to hear what you think your answer is. And there's actually 2 potential answers. I just want to see what you guys think. So Sean, hey Sean, yeah, go ahead. And if you want to unmute yourself, Sean, and call it out what you think it is. And Tom put endless. That's what a lot of us do. Entrepreneurs, we can't help ourselves. We keep wanting to do the next thing. All right. Here's what I recommend. And this isn't just me. This is my all the years experience, but also working with other coaches and learning from other coaches. in, of course, coaching and training for a lot of years. The answer is actually two. You should be doing two things, not just one and not seven. Now, you've heard me say this before. Once you get two up and running and you feel like you have capacity, turn on the third one. But most experts will tell you, active campaigns, you're going to have going to be really challenged to track and measure activity and results for more than three campaigns. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have some things going on in the background all the time. Like you should always be calling your people, right? That's a given. I don't really consider that a marketing campaign. That's just good old fashioned, outreach. Um, you should have everybody set up on an automated market report. Everybody, uncles, aunts, cousins, nieces, nephews, parents, children, it doesn't matter. Everybody gets a market report in your database. Okay. Um, and obviously property searches are not a marketing campaign either, but that's something you should have set up for as many people as possible. Okay. So in any case, excuse me, the first thing I'm going to show you is I'm going to actually go into my dashboard. Okay. Because I don't think I've got that up here yet. Nope. All right. Let me go to dashboard. All right. Now, you see right here where it says build your pipeline. Everybody with me so far? Okay. Just do like a hand raise or something, or the chat box to say, yep, or you could even do the hand raise in the chat. So I'm going to click on that. Okay. And if you scroll down here, you're going to see all the things that are available to you. All right. If you look right here, this block that says bulk import. That's what you click on if you have to load multiple records. So why would we load multiple records? Well, if you're coming to join the team from another brokerage and another platform, you're going to not want to load. You're not going to want to load your contacts one by one. You're going to want to load them in bulk. And what's really neat about that is if you do it in bulk, guess what? Just click on this to see if it has it in there. You can let them do it for you. How about them apples? Isn't that a nice surprise? You don't even have to load them. This Bold Trail will do it for you. And guess how much it costs to do that? Do the bulk import. Zero, not one dime. So doing it yourself, all it is, guys, honestly, it's a matter of mapping. So if you're moving data from one CRM, you're going to download that data into called an export file, or it's usually a CSV file or an Excel spreadsheet. It's going to be formatted in that CRM's format. At least you got your data in a formatted Excel spreadsheet. And then Bullet Trail is going to have its own format for an Excel spreadsheet. Well, all you do is you go into Microsoft Excel. There's a mapping function that you can execute to map all the records from the old format to the new format. And that's literally all it is. So you can do it yourself, right? But honestly, for me, if I can get something done for free and it's bulk, I'm gonna let those people do that. So, save myself some time and pain and aggravation. But I don't want to click on the video because you can do that on your own. But every CRM that I've ever seen, and I've taught a lot of them, has the same exact functionality. So this is paramount. It's not something you wait on. And let's say you're brand new. You're brand new to real estate, and you've got contacts on your phone. You've got them on Facebook, LinkedIn. You've got them in email. Let's say you're on Gmail. By the way, Gmail automatically uh, saves all of your contacts for you, whether you know it or not. Every time you receive or send an email, if it's a new email address, Gmail saves it. And you can find that all those records come totally mapped out for you and ready to rock and roll. So if you're brand new, this is where I see a lot of people were failures in the execution. And what I mean by that is they failed to execute the task of loading their records onto the new CRM. It is the number one thing you do. So if you're new to the team and we're working together, some of you have already seen this. We're going to log into your CRM during one of our coaching sessions. We're going to go through, just spot check some of your records, not a test, just to show you how to actually turn on some of these campaigns. Okay. And make sure you're tagging your records and show you how to do that. That's the kind of stuff we do one-on-one. But the sake of tonight's class, if you're already in the business, okay, you probably already know this, but if you're new, you really want to take this to heart. I'm telling you, it's foundational. It's literally real estate 101. You don't move further. You don't go any further until you do this. Okay, you don't get to do any of the marketing. It makes no sense to turn a marketing campaign if you have no records or if you have records that are not tagged properly. Okay, it's just gonna waste your time, energy, and money. I'm not trying to be mean, I'm just being frank about it, right? And if you ask any veteran on the call here, they'll tell you exactly the same thing. You need to get your database loaded and everybody tagged, because then your marketing will be effective. Number one. Number two is your database is going to pay you, and none of this costs a dime. Marketing costs money. Doing this stuff doesn't cost a dime. So you do this first, get the low hanging fruit, and then you can add marketing on top of that. This makes sense, guys. Just do a hand raise. There's a hand raise function, or you can type in the chat box, thumbs up. Next time that'll work. Okay, good. So now I'm going to go back here. Hang on one second. We go back one step. Go back two steps, actually, I think. Yep, we're going to go back another step. Okay, now we're back to the dashboard. If you go to the middle column under playbooks, this is where stuff starts to get really good. If you're in Bold Trail, I want you to click on Gather Your Sphere. If you're in another system like Lofty, again, Top Producer, are going to have something like this. So I'll click on it so you can see what it is. All right. These are the steps, right? Get contacts into the system. We just talked about that. We're going to capture and categorize Sphere into groups. This is where tagging comes into play. So guys, we went over tagging a couple of weeks ago, if you remember that. We just went in there, PF was on, PF minutes. And I showed you how to tag, but in Bold Trail and every other system out there, you can tag your records based on demographics, social graphics, whether they're family or friends. If they're investors, you can tag them as a flipper. You can tag them as a landlord. If they're just traditional homeowners, you can tag them as first-time homebuyer. You can tag them as mover-upper, downsizer, retiree, all that kind of stuff. You can tag them. And the more tags you have, the better your marketing is going to work. Because if you have multiple tags, for example, if I had flippers in my database that have flipped more than 3 homes, and now they're starting to do rentals, I'll have them tagged as landlords too. And I can create a campaign on the people who do flipping and my rentals, right? So instead of creating 2 different campaigns, I create one campaign that speaks to multiple criteria. A tag is basically a criteria match. So do a quick pause here and ask for another thumbs up. Does that make sense what I just said there? Would you need me to go over it? You might need any repeat. Really important. The tagging, guys, probably the second most important thing. That first important is loading your records up there, and second important is tagging them. Okay. Thank you, PF. By the way, I didn't realize you were on. So good to see you, President Pedro. Okay. Now the next step is setting up alerts and automation, and that's really where we're going to spend the bulk of tonight. Okay. I'm going to show you how easy it can be. All right. And we're just going to keep it basic. Actually, we're going to do an automated campaign, and we're going to do a search alert. Okay. So we're going to do that, and then we have a few other things to throw in there. And if you guys are feeling really brave, do I have any brave or courageous people on the call tonight? Let's see raise your hand if you're brave or courageous. It might even mean the same thing. So nobody, your Tom's raising his hand. So
I don't use KB Core though.
yeah, I know. I'm just thinking that it has to kind of be somebody who's in Bold Trail or or I'm sorry, Lofty. But in any case, um, we'll see what kind of time we have. I love doing the live stuff, real examples. We call them case studies because it's real and it's not a test. It actually helps the person who's allowing themselves to be, front with everybody and showing everybody what we're doing. So, in any case, let me just double check here and make sure. Yeah, those are the things I wanted to show here. Remind me later on, guys. Actually, quick question: who here would like to know how to use EXP's dial safe system? If you're dialing people, especially if you're calling people that you don't have permission to call. There actually is a way to do that. Okay. So who here likes to likes to call your people? Let's do a hand raise on that or a thumbs up. Yeah, I got to tell you guys, that's probably, if it's not number three, it's number four in importance. Okay. Once you have your contacts loaded, the automation gets you front of mind presence. You remember who you are and what you're doing on a regular basis. The phone call is where you actually get business done. That's where they're going to say, you know what? Come to think of it, my neighbor found out they're being transferred. They got to move. I'll make a contact for you. That's why you call your sphere. Your sphere is not going to buy stuff from you. Or so, and they occasionally they will, but it's not like it's going to be an everyday occurrence. But what is going to be an everyday occurrence is when they go to church on Sunday and work on Monday, if somebody says they got to move. Because of front of mind presence and because you've recalled them in the last 3 months, they're going to say, you know what? You got to call Val, you got to call Ryan, got to call Rob, got to call Sean, got to call Kathy. You know, they're my niece, my nephew, my neighbor. You know, my went to school with them. I keep updated because of them, and they know what they're doing and they're good. That's why we do it. Okay. All right. Let me go back here and we will go into, let's see, let's go to, let's do an automated campaign. All right. Well, I'm going to now go into contacts, which so I got my record already up actually. That's me. I mean, we click on contacts so you can see what it looks like. I must have, oh, I did search for myself. So if I turn that off, I'm going to refresh and you see all of, now my contacts aren't going to be like yours. My contacts are agents. Okay. Because I'm not in production. I'm not competing with you. You're in production, right? So in any case, I'm going to go in and type in my name again. Hang on 1 second. Gary Wilson. So if you notice, I have multiple records on here. Okay. And that's because I like to test things out sometimes, or Sugar will, right? Before we execute a campaign, she always tests it out on me, right? So I can see what it looks like and make any adjustments. Now, I highly recommend you do the same thing, guys. Everybody here, please write this down or go ahead and create a record for yourself. I'll show you how to do that in a second, individual record. You want to create a couple of records for yourself that you can use to test out your campaigns before you kick them off. There's no worse feeling than kicking off a campaign that has typos in it, which I'm famous for. You don't want to do that. Don't be like me. Be better than me. Okay. Um, or things like missing a link or a link that's not working. All those things you want to find out on your own, then you can correct them. Then you do another test and you send the whole thing out after that. That makes sense, guys? Always, always test first. Just, just promise me you're going to do that, and then take my word for it. You'll be thankful later that you tested first. Right? So, in any case, let me click on one of these records here. All right. And then I'm going to click on what's called more actions. So again, every CRM I've ever seen has the option for taking different action steps. You can add tasks, you can add hashtags. This is where if I just realized, oh, Gary Wilson, I forgot he was you know, a lender at one point. I'll just put in there hashtag lender, right? We've got a number of lenders actually on our team in EXP. You can transfer contacts, you can share contacts, you can archive them, you can do all kinds of things. Look, you can assign the lender here. You can add a campaign. So why don't we go ahead and do that? We're going to click on add campaign. Okay. So if you guys are following along with me, go ahead and in another browser session, go ahead and click on add campaign if you haven't done this before. Okay. And then they'll go in here, you're going to see lots of tests, right? test, test two, agent attraction. There's a bunch of those because we really got going gangbusters on that. Default buyer campaign. So if you have somebody that just a plain old obvious buyer, you probably want to click on that one. All right. Default new lead buyer, new lead seller, flipping prospect. So this brings up something important, guys. One of the things I like about these new systems today that are available is you don't just have to use the campaigns that come with the CRM. So on our team, if you're on a team, and our team section of the website. It's the one kind of, you have to have a login access for it. We have our own marketing division. There's 21 marketing campaigns there. Well, some of those are actually in here. We loaded them for you already. You don't have to copy them or anything. If you see one that you want to clone, you just get the token code from our website, the team website, right on the marketing section, bring it in here, type in the token code, and it'll literally copy the campaign for you right in your own CRM account. It's amazing. So in any case, um, here's a custom new buyer lead campaign that we created, and another one for seller. Um, there's a bunch of them out here. I'm not going to go over them all, but I'm going to do main effect. Let me go back here to the flipping. So I'm going to select that, click add campaign. And now that campaign is set up for my me. So now I'm going to get a regular message from them. It's actually that flipping campaign is a series of 17 videos on flipping, by the way, just for your FYI. And that's literally all you have to do that. I'm going to actually select that again, by the way. I'm going to go in here, open it up the time. Okay. There's another way to do this. So if you're on an individual record, you can come over here and click add task. Okay. Give it a title. I'm not actually going to create one because I've got several of them going on right now. You can see it's assigning myself. You just type in the title, the details, hit add task. Okay. But let's do this. I want to take you down here. Task would be like setting up a phone call. And you can do that, by the way. You can set up tasks that remind you like every 3 months, call Gary, call Gary, call Gary every 3 months. Okay. You want to do that at least for your tier one people. Tier one people, the people you know and love the best. The most you would call them already, right? That's your tier one people. You will already call them because you love them and they love you. Tier two is people that you probably could be friends, maybe acquaintances. You would stop each other at a grocery store to chat. How's the soccer game yesterday? And so won, and that kind of stuff. You probably would invite them over if you're having like a neighborhood picnic or something. Category three or level three, that's pretty much everybody else. Okay. But you should have calls set up at a minimum for everybody you're tagged, and you would tag them, right? Number one, number two for your levels, right? You would tag them and call all your level one people, set up tasks every 3 months or more frequently if you want. And then this tier two people every 6 months or more frequently if you like. Somewhere between 3 and 6 months for tier two, somewhere between 1 and 3 months for tier one. But in any case, let's go down here. You can see I've already set up one search alert for zip code 15101, frequency weekly, right? And I just set it up earlier because I was doing a test, but I can click another one. Okay. I can make it weekly. And then what I'm going to do is, where are the listings? I'm going to now put in, let's do 22973. Some of you Virginians might know that one. Hit the enter key. All right. Scroll down, which listings to send. Default, I'm going to just let that be, I'm going to put single family. I've already done multifamily. Okay. You could add a keyword. I'm just going to put in here uh, single family home. Oops, that's actually it's giving me keywords to pick. Okay. Let's see what they are. Virtual tour. And I'm going to put single family home back in there. Okay. And then save and send. And that's literally how you set up a simple search. Okay. So in any case, let me take a quick pause here and let you guys catch up for those of you who are doing this right online. For the newer folks, um, let me see who do we have here, or even the veterans if you've been on for a while, like Rob. So Rob Parrott, have you done this kind of thing since we got Bull Trail this past summer? Any of this type of work in any of your contacts?
Yeah, I was talking to there's no feedback, is there? I got two screens going. Uh, let's see. Yeah, I was talking to you about, there we go. I was talking to you about setting that up
Okay.
maybe 2 weeks ago. I pretty much am ahead of the game a little bit just because I'm so diligent when I put people into my phone that I mark them how who they are, if they're a mortgage person or whoever, a friend or whatever. I pretty much always try and put them in a some sort of category, but it's by Google contact. I'm
Mhm.
glad you asked me this question because I wanted to interrupt you a second ago, so now I'll ask.
Okay.
In transitioning things over to Bold Trail, I was interrupted from getting that done. Was out of town for a week, just got back
Mhm.
Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, so I had to put that on hold. But in looking at that, if I'm transferring people from my Google Contacts into Bold Trail, and I've already got them in my Google Contacts separated by, I've got them separated into real estate. I've got them separated into, music or entertainment or whatever they are. And then
Mhm.
I've got people separated for like mortgage broker or title agent or, just regular real estate agent. Is
Mhm.
there a way for me to put them and do I have to hashtag or to tag them, or can I put them in a subcategory where these 15 people are this profession or that profession? Can I do that as well or no?
Actually, you can actually
Reason I'm
use.
asking is
Mhm.
I'm not wanting to have to I have 1900 contacts or something like that.
Okay.
About another 400 contacts that are businesses, brick and mortar businesses. But of 1900 people, that's tremendous. But I don't want to go in and have to hand tag every one of them, hashtag broker, hashtag title company. I don't want to do that. So when I upload them,
Mhm.
I'm two things. Can I upload them by with a category into a list, or can I highlight them all at one time and hashtag them one time, but have like 20 names clicked? Can I
Do
do
and
one
mash.
or either?
That's a good question because I have not done that. So if anybody's on PF, if you go ahead, PF, and mute yourself if you don't mind. Thanks, by the way, too, for doing that.
Yeah, thank you for promoting me. Anyways, I have a suggestion for you, Rob. You can put them all on a CSV file again and put in the hashtag in the CSV file that you want, and then go through the import process and then merge them. That way, it will be carried.
Okay.
It's not simple, but it is somewhat easier, and it will save you a little bit of time. Um, but yeah, that would be my suggestion. And then you could, of course, have Bolt Trail people do it for you, uh, and you could even ask them, uh, by please merge them because these are I'm duplicating things because I need to add hashtags to these people. And that would save you a little bit of going one by one somewhat.
Yeah. Something else I'm wondering, PF. Let me go back to my contacts here.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Robin. Thanks for the answer, PF. So PF, if I select all four of my Gary records, can I then either select an existing hashtag or even create a new hashtag and it would apply to all four, every record is checked? Is that possible, do you know? Because I haven't done that myself.
I believe so.
Let me just click here. Let me pick
Let me
a
double check
agent.
on my own too. Yeah.
I just tried it. Let's see if parallel filters. Well, let's see now. What's weird is when I did that, it only when it refreshed, only one of my records came back. Um, and I don't see the other three, so I'm not sure if it applied the agent tag to them. But I can go back
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. When you select them and you go to more actions, then you could
Yep.
do add hashtags.
Well, that's where you can do it. That's right. I
Yeah.
forgot right there. Add hashtags. Excellent. So there you go, Rob. There's a couple options here. Yep. But
And it will
but
apply the same hashtag to all the records that you select.
yep.
Yeah, that'll probably
And
work there. Yeah.
And keep in mind too, guys, and Rob and everybody, remember, you can add as many hashtags as you want. So I don't know if you can create lists in Boldtrail like you can in Facebook. Like in Facebook, I can create a list of all agents, we've actually done that. And I can create a list of all the people that are, from my, sort of hometown, Virginia Beach, right? But in Bold Trail, I don't know that you can do that, but you can do bulk tagging. And you can have as many tags as you want. And remember, the more tags you have, um, the more precise you can get on your messaging when you're creating a marketing campaign. And once you get good at the marketing campaigns, you can just create them on your own. Um, but be careful not to have people in receiving too many campaigns because they'll go cold on you. They won't be opening your emails anymore. If they're getting emails every day from you, stop opening them. So that's why I really don't want to, at least on an email campaign, you shouldn't have any more than two campaigns going at once anyways, for your purposes, for tracking purposes. But also you don't want to overfish your pond. You don't want to have your records go cold on you. So um,
Let me ask you this question. Thank you for that insight, by the way, PF. I was talking to you a moment ago, but I didn't realize I was talking. I got two devices open, and I was talking into the muted one. So, um, I I'm wondering if I like because I've got some of this done and some of it not done, and then I went back and started over from scratch, redoing the Google because I realized that for some reason my phone had unsynced with the laptop. So I was finding contacts in my phone that were not in my Google for using it through the laptop. I don't know how that happened or why, but it did. And I had multiple email addresses too. So am I able to, let's just any random number, say 30. I input 30 people and they're all real estate agents into my contacts, right? Or they're all whoever they are industry. Am I able to just highlight those 30, import them in, and then once they're in, since I can't put them in a list, I can put them in a hashtag. So am I able to just highlight all 30 of those check boxes or whatever, and then put how I want to tag them and just type in that hashtag real estate agent, and it would automatically input that tag into all 30 of those newly imported contacts. I can do that, yes? Right.
Yes.
Okay, good. That's what I found. That way I don't have to go in, individually 30 different times, real estate agent, hashtag real estate agent, hashtag real estate agent. And then to Gary's point, if I wanted to make it more finite than that, I could put, real estate agent if I, for whatever reason, if I wanted to put EXP agent or if I wanted to put whatever, I could do that within those 30. I could do the same thing there. I do, however, run the risk, in my opinion, Gary, if I'm hashtagging them in multiple, you said, kind of drilling down, trying to make them, a little more specific. I'm worried about running the risk of I want to email these people specifically in this genre of people, and then if I go in and I email another genre of people, that same person may wind up getting two or three different emails from me at the same time because they're in three different hashtag groups. Make
hmm,
sense?
yeah. Yeah, you definitely want to be careful about that. You could, um, you could select people like if let's say there's a group of people that have meet three criteria. In other words, three hashtags. You could do a campaign just on that. It's just remember that if you kick off another one, you want to keep track of your campaigns is ultimately what I'm getting at here. You want to keep track of your campaigns and how many you have out there at a time. Because it is really difficult to track and measure. If you don't track and measure, you're not going to really know how well they're doing. Because see, most of us base our how well we're doing on the final results. How many listings did we sell? How many buyers did we find houses for? That kind of thing. Which is you still want to do that, but in order to go back further in time and be earlier, measure and track earlier in the process, you have to track the leading indicators. When you track your closings, that's called a lagging indicator. Closings mean you did a good job, whatever you were doing. A leading indicator are the actual action steps you're taking. Did you set up your phone calls using tasks, setting up a task? Is everybody getting at a minimum a monthly market update? Okay. Um, that would be a leading indicator of future success. So you want to really track your leading indicators more than you track your lagging. Your lagging indicators you're going to track automatically. You're going to get a deposit in your bank account. That's you obviously pay attention to that. But tracking your leading indicators, guys, is what the really truly successful agents do because they know what leads to a closing, right? They know the sequence of steps involved. They know how many phone calls it took, how many meetings it took, how many showings it took, things like that. So when you track those leading indicators, right? Phone calls, automated campaigns, showing houses, things like that. When you track those leading indicators, and you know it takes you showing an average of 10 homes to get a transaction, you know if you want to increase your transaction count, you got to increase how many times you show houses, right? So that's what I'm saying. Turning on these campaigns, it can easily run away with you. You'll start one, and then 2 weeks later, we're all entrepreneurs. We're going to have this another whiz bang idea. We're going to set up another campaign. Next thing you know, you might have, several dozen of your prospects receiving multiple contacts from you, emails, texts, Facebook messages. You know, now I'm going to kind of muddy the water here a little bit. It's okay for your contacts to receive contact from you using multiple media. Facebook message, LinkedIn message, phone call, text, email. You just don't want to have them get 5 emails in a day, right? Or 5 Facebook posts in a day. But if they're getting email from you once a week and they're getting a Facebook message from you once a week and a phone call once a month, you're in fine shape. Okay. That would be reasonable. Let me do a quick pause here and just check. Does that make sense, guys? Just type in
Yeah.
the chat box.
Yes.
Hey, and Gary, I wanted to say one thing. Most
Yep.
most MLSs will give you a list of the agents. So I've done that for years. They'll just send you the whole CSV file, so you can
Yeah.
just upload them into Bolt Trail. And then in Bolt
Yeah.
Trail, there's a lot of behavioral rules you can put in place. So,
Yes.
I mean, it's extensive, but anytime you have that, Rob, their customer service when we had it, they were great. I mean, their support was
Yeah.
fabulous, and they'll talk you through all that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
When
Yeah.
you
I agree.
say
There's some.
behavioral, what do you mean by that, sir?
I had an assistant that did most of mine, so I apologize. I don't know but there
Okay.
may be behavioral alerts you can put in that you don't ever send them more than 3 things a month. It's so
That's what I
deep.
was going to ask.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so deep. But I would just call their customer service. They are fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll
Because I
walk you
was
through it.
thinking maybe there's some analytic metric or something where if I'm emailing, Timmy, then it's going to pop up and say, you just emailed Timmy
Yeah,
4 days ago,
I
right?
think there's
And
something
I'm like,
built in there.
oh, you know,
Yeah, I think there's
so
some
okay,
built
yeah,
in. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's also would tell you'll know if they don't open your emails. You'll know if they open them. You'll know if they don't
yeah,
open
the
them.
click-through rates, yeah.
yeah.
Yep. You'll get a lot of that
I
stuff in
think
there.
that's what you're saying too about the what you call it, the leading versus the closing. You
Indicators,
call it the leading something. I think
leading
that's
indicators. Yep.
absolutely imperative that you track those things because you're going to know what works.
Exactly.
Whether it was the verbiage you used or the type of photos you used or anything. If you're tracking all of that stuff, which I'm intend on doing all of that to see what
Mhm.
works. You want it to be full of your own personality, but still professional. But I absolutely want to be able to track from a metrics point of view all of those kind of things. What
Yeah.
how professional or how personal the type of language was, or casual, not personal, but or whatever, all of those things, and then whatever works the most, of course, you continue to keep doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's by the way, just to kind of put a little teaser out there, remember this is still beginning of the year, so we're doing the fundamentals now. As the year progresses, we're going to do more advanced stuff. And one of those things is this platform integrates with social media. You can literally, trigger a campaign right here into your Facebook account. You should have, of course, a personal and a business account. But there's things like that that we'll do later on. So ultimately, what I want everybody here to do, whether no matter what brokerage you're in, and if you're on the team or not, doesn't matter. I want you to be able to communicate with your sphere, your contacts, using different media, right? So, a letter campaign still works. I mean, it's amazing. Some of the good old fashioned stuff that never goes out of style. But combine that with an occasional phone call and strategically place Facebook message or post. I'm telling you, you'll maintain front of mind presence, and it's not going to be overwhelming. You're not going to overfish the pond. If you just weave in multiple media usage, it really helps you so you're not only always using emails. That's one of the worst things you could do is only use email and use it all the time. You'll watch your open rate will drop dramatically. Okay. So emails to be used, only strategically and for real intent. You have to have a real purpose behind it. So
Do you know of a current statistic on that? I remember years ago we discussed the open rate of text versus email, and I think
mhm,
that has gone away as being the text by far and away was better than email at the time, as far as the open rate. And we were laughingly, I don't know if you recall this conversation, we were
mhm,
laughingly saying people have their phone stuck in their hand, it's stuck on their hip all the time. They take it to the bathroom, they whatever. So as soon
mhm,
as the phone goes bling bling, I got a text, it's like a reflex. People reach for their phone, they cannot not open the text message.
mhm.
Very, when it comes to the email, it might be a day or two before they open it, if ever.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that metric or that statistic is anymore, but can anyone speak to that? Because I think it's balanced out a lot. It's a lot better to being
Well,
equal now.
yeah, I don't have any stats really available, but I will tell you this in my own personal experience, because I do track my own. Um, I do way better with texting than I do with emails. Yeah.
Me too, yeah.
And guess what else works really well? Private messaging also like Facebook messaging. It's one-on-one,
Yeah.
very quick and easy. To me, it's just as good as a text. But texting, I'm texting, you know, every day, all day, receiving and sending, and because it's a great communication vehicle. Um, but for marketing purposes, I do now use it sparingly. Texting I use sparingly for marketing purposes because I will tell you, like Rob, what you said, probably 3 years ago, I was using it heavily for the first 2 years here, and it was working. I mean, my gosh, we were growing like crazy. Um, and then I slowed down because I noticed that it was the texting responses were dropping a lot, not completely, but it was noticeable, like 30% or something. So we switched from that to going online, and that still today works. So now we go back and forth. We integrate it. We use the three together, you know. So,
Yeah.
yep. But that's really a really important concept. And the funny thing is, guys, if you're sitting here and you're thinking to myself, my gosh, I'm never going to be able to get all this up and running. Does anybody feel that way, by the way? I mean, just be candid. If this feels like and sounds like this is a lot, just remember it all starts with a few simple, easy steps. Okay. So don't ever feel like you have to do it all, and especially do it all like right away. But let's prioritize. Let's have the one-on-one. Set up your strategy calls with me. Look at your. One of the main things I do is we go into your database, we take a look at it, and I can make a quick assessment saying, I think we should try this. You know, um, and we've done that. Jess and I did it before. Rose Michelle and I have done it recently, and it worked. It helps to have a second pair of eyes, look at things, and that's what I'm here for. So in any case, I know I'm going down a real big rabbit hole there, but I love these discussions because this is where all the little nitty gritty nuances get fleshed out. Um, is I'm going to show you one more quickie thing here. See where it says add contact? So this is like, let's say you're in the grocery store, you run into one of your neighbors and having a quick chat, or they're with somebody and say, hey, by the way, this is, Jane Doe. Jane's from my old neighborhood. Hey, Jane, how you doing? I'm Gary Wilson. What neighborhood is that? Oh, great. How long you been there? Oh, it's been there 20 years, and all the kids have grown and gone. So I'm kind of looking around, and no kidding. Well, I have a team that does help people buy and sell homes. We to contact. Well, what I do is I keep my planner with me in my vehicle, right there. You know that? Okay. I'll write down who I met. Okay. And if I was there, I would get their, I would ask them, hey, you have a, what's a good email for you? And I would jot it down. Right. Or I would say, look, can I send you a text? And then you just respond. And then later on, I'll text them saying, what's your best email? I'm going to set you up on a search. Later that day, before the day is out, I'll come into add contact. I mean, it's real simple. First name, last name, email, phone number. Okay. Um, not that you're getting all this detail in a preliminary conversation, but if they say, don't call me, I'll put no for no calls, or text or email. And I would ask them, hey, what do you prefer? Do you prefer text, email? Just kind of get a read on them real quick. Um, if you get their address, that's great. But quite frankly, I'm not going to ask for somebody's address in a grocery store. I'll get that later on in a phone call or email. Does that make sense, guys? Just get what you need initially. Get either a phone call or email. If you can get both, that's great. But if you get one, get the phone number because later on you can get the email very easily. Now, when it sets you up on a search, you need your best email, right? Then you got name, phone number, and email, right? Later on, you can get their address. If you're going to go show properties to them, I'll come pick you up. We'll go in my car. How do I? What's your address? And now you got their address. And always, always, I don't know if you guys can see this. Um, I take a lot of notes. Notes are on this side over here. And over here is my pen. Here's one of my pencils. And yes, I keep multiple pencils on me and pens. But it sounds old school, but it's quick, it's easy, right there on the spot. If it gets wet, it still works. The battery's no battery, so it always works. And I just take a quick note so it's out of my mind. I've already done it and I can focus on the next phone call or where I'm going. Later on at the end of the day, I go through and I put quick contact center. It's exactly what I do. And I highly recommend you have some system like that. Because otherwise, your our brains are not perfect. We got so much input coming in, it's too easy to forget things. And confidence, your database is your gold. That's your gold, guys. Don't worry about marketing right now. If you haven't loaded all your records into your gold mine, that is absolutely A1 number one. So Julie calling. I'm so glad to see you on the phone here. So Julie, give me a call tomorrow when you wake up. And you know me, I'll be up early, but I don't expect you to be as up early as me because you're on the beautiful West Coast. Let's go over some of this stuff, okay? We're all gonna help you out. In any case, that's adding a contact. Now, let me see here. How are we doing on time? All right, guys, I want to show you one more thing, and then we'll do some more Q&A. All right, I'm gonna go into my toolkit, and I'm gonna show you this right here. See where it says dial safe, EXP dial safe? Okay. You can also get to it from clicking on view access your app. Click on learn more. With dial safe, if you go in here, this is everything you need to know about TCPA. Okay. There's steps you can follow. So you can actually take advantage of this right from on your own, computer without having to go Google stuff and do all that stuff. Just learned here from New York. Some of you who are not from New York might not know this. You cannot cold call anybody in New York. No exceptions unless there's a state of emergency. Okay. No unsolicited phone calls are permitted. So, in any case, that's New York for you. But having said that, and I'm going to tell you, I'm not an attorney, and I'm not a executive with EXP. I'm a team leader. I'm on the sales side. I'm on the production side. But a lot of people think you can't use your phone anymore to call people. That's not true. Okay. You can definitely call people that you know because you have a reason to call. Your fear, right? So, in any case, Hi, I just want to take a moment to thank you for watching a recording of the Monday Night Live class. Hope you're getting a lot out of it. I'm sure you will. I wanted to let you know that, you can come to Monday Night Live whenever you want, but you can also participate more with the team. Why don't you set up a call with me, a one-on-one strategy call? I can go over everything with you, show you everything that we have to offer. For example, did you know that on our team, not only do you get your leads, we actually give you your own account on our lead gen system. So this puts you in control. You're not waiting on somebody to hand you leads. You get to pick the ones you want. Okay. Huge difference. We have 21 of our own proprietary marketing campaigns. They're all copyright protected. We're the only ones that can use them. Okay. The coaching is absolutely one-on-one. We got 3 coaches. We even have a 4th success coach that we have access to. Okay. One of left fewer than 100 in the world. Okay. One-on-one coaching. Right now the big problem is volume. We need more transactions. We need more inventory. I get it. Well, we know how to get it. Our team actually outproduces the national average by more than 2 to 1. So if you're struggling, don't do that anymore. If you're a solo agent, if you're a team, let's just talk. Smart entrepreneurs are always open to discussion. Learn what we have to offer, and then you can make an informed decision about staying where you are or moving on. You got to decide, if you're not where you want to be, you've got to take action to get where you want to be. Let's see how we can help you do that. I look forward to talking to you. Click on the link, set up a call. And by the way, I'll see you on the next Monday Night Live. Let's say you want to call somebody, you have a good reason to call them, but you haven't spoken to them over the phone and you don't have their permission. Let's do a pop quiz here. Who here, if you think it's okay to call them, type in the word yes in the chat box. If you think it's not okay to call them, type in no in the chat box. And let's see what everybody thinks. So to somebody, you know who they are, right? But you don't have their permission to call them. You've never called them before, but you have a reason to call them, a legitimate reason. So Tom said yes. Okay, let's see what else we got here so far. We got
Sounds
yes.
like a trick
yes.
question, Gary.
What's that?
I said that kind of sounds like a trick question. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It should
is.
be
The
okay to
answer,
call them, but what if they're on the list? Who knows? I don't know.
well, the answer actually is yes. And because if you have a legitimate reason, okay. And this is what I've heard, but again, don't quote me on this. Um, what I've heard is as long as you're not robo dialing, if you're not doing auto dialing, that's a no-no right there. We don't do auto dialing anymore, by the way, guys. I just don't do it. Not worth it. Um, but if you use your own phone and you're dialing directly, you're okay to do that. Now, if they tell you, please don't call me anymore, right? Then you can't call them anymore. But you're not going to get in trouble for calling them the first time. With a legitimate reason, you could say, look, here's why I'm calling you. We live in neighborhoods close to each other, and I have a client who's looking for a property just exactly like yours. And I can give you their name. This is totally legit. I'm not making this up. But they just happen to want a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom ranch in a neighborhood that you're in. And you lived there a long time. I can see this. It's all in the county records. And I thought, my gosh, maybe you're ready to move to Florida because it's been freezing cold up here. And I thought I'd give it a shot. Is that okay for me to do this? And I'll tell you, just be honest with them. Most people at least let you, have your shot. But if they yell and scream, just apologize and say, I apologize. I follow my best judgment. I was wrong. I promise I won't call you again. And leave it at that. And if you get a phone call from the broker saying somebody complained, I can pretty much assure you that's the end of it right there. You're gonna get a little warning, and that's it. Don't worry about it. Okay. The answer is you can call them. So I just want everybody to be clear on what's allowable, what's not allowable. Now, let's say like Robson, let's say they're on the do not call list. Okay. If it was me, I would not call them. Okay, even though I have a quote unquote legitimate reason, what I would do is I would send them a letter because I know their name and I have their address. Why wouldn't I just send them a quick note? I mean, 60 seconds, I got the note out the door, and in 3 days they're going to have it. And I'll call them day 4 or day 5. I say, yeah, I'm Gary. I'm the person that sent you that note. And so now not only to have a legitimate reason, you actually have a reference point. You sent them a letter. Have you had a chance to read my letter? Okay. And then go from there. That's what I would do. Okay. But that's just me. I would say read the rules yourself, make your own determination. But fundamentally what I asked before is the answer is yes, you can call them. Okay, guys, that was it for my agenda for tonight. Let me just double check here. Oh, one more thing. All right, here's what I want you guys to do. So we're gonna have a moment of candor here. If you could type in the chat box on a scale of 1 to 10, the state of your CRM. So if your database, you don't have anybody loaded there, or you've only loaded up a few people, they're not even tagged, and that's a be a 1, level 1. If you have everybody in your database, they're all tagged, they're all getting at least one automated campaign, and you have a task set up to call them on a regular basis, that would be a 10. So I want you to type in the chat box where you believe you are. A 1 to a 10, or anywhere in between. So everybody type in your number. I'll give you a second to do that. Okay. This is not a test. It's not anything to feel bad about or good about. It just is what it is. And I'm going to tell you right now, before all your numbers are typed in, the veterans are usually further ahead because they know. I mean, just ask Tom Wall, how important is it, Tom, for me to have my database loaded and people tagged and set up on automated campaigns?
If I've been doing this 36 years, if I would have done that from the beginning, I would have been long gone 20 years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
that database is everything. I mean, everything, every hashtag. And you got to be careful when you import because they import, sometimes they're doubled up. But we all rush through that. I'm telling you, you do a database, right? You don't really need to do anything else. That's,
Yep.
I mean,
Yep. I agree. When I was in production, when I got to about my third year, when I actually listened to my broker, and he was
yeah,
very patient with me because I've got a thick Irish skull and he never gave up on me. And I finally did what he said. And sure enough, that year, I don't think I spent one dime on marketing. Because he told me, he said, look, it's the hardest work you ever do because your brain's telling you no. He said it would be the least expensive work you ever do. And he said, by the way, you'll get transactions that didn't cost you a single dime. And man, was he right.
hmm
It was, in fact, it was 110 transactions that year, 110. Some of them
yeah,
did 4 transactions with me. Some did 1, some did more. But the bottom line is it worked. And I was a raging fan from that time. Everything I did after that, we did our letter campaigns that cost a little bit of money, but for the most part, we had emails, phone numbers, addresses, the whole 9 yards. And then, Facebook was growing like crazy. So we started in on that, and that was free. And our marketing budget, you know, was almost nothing. But if I didn't have all that done, and I was after sending out massive postcard campaigns,
hmm
thousands of dollars, you know, and
Do you
with a
use voice
small,
drops at all, Gary? Do you use the voice drops in Bolt Trail?
do we use what in Bull Trail?
The voice drops, you
I haven't
drop the
done that
voice.
yet, but I do. We've had
Okay,
people. It's very easy to do. You can
yeah,
do
it is.
video and voice. Yeah,
Because I'm just saying, if you get your database right, every holiday you could just pick up your phone, record a 20-second greeting, and send it to your whole database, and it just
yeah,
drops in their voicemail. Doesn't even ring their phone.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah, I
pretty
agree.
cool.
100%.
But
Yeah,
you got to have the
yeah,
database tight.
Is that
yeah.
a pay subscription?
That is, yeah, yeah, through Bolt Trail.
Cool.
I
Okay,
forget how. Well, we used to. I used to use it for recruiting. I mean, we just downloaded the whole MLS, and I would just create a voice drop and send it to the whole MLS. The problem is you have to, you can only send so many at a time. I think it's 200 max. So, I had staff that would do that, so they had to send 200, then send 200, then send 200. But yeah, those
Yeah.
are very effective.
Yeah, KV Core was 250 at a time, but there was something you could do. It may have just been email, where as long as you schedule it, and it's a day in advance, then you don't have the limitation of 250. It'll hit however many records you want, but it'll
Hmm,
do it in bulk. It'll do bulk of, it'll do 250 for bulk, but it will do all of the bulk. But come to think
okay.
of it, I think that probably was just email. I don't think about it. Yep. But you guys, if you click here, see where it says video message, you can go right in there. They're going to limit you on how many of these you can do on the free version. But if you pay extra money, upgrade to premium, that's another way to get some videos out there. And I will tell you this, um, I'm not knocking any other type of software, but years ago we tried BombBomb through KV Core, and I never experienced so many opt-outs in my life. It was shocking. I stopped it because I panicked. I was like, holy cow, there's a lot of people opting out. It's because the way Bomb did it, it freaked people out. And so we stopped that real quick. We went to what KV Core offered. Now, hell, of course, it's now called Bold Trail. But we did their methodology. We didn't have that problem, you know? So,
Yeah, I'm
um,
curious to know too. You probably have the answer for this, Gary. If someone does. Um, Years ago, 15 years ago, doing entertainment and so forth, and trying to promote a concert, a show, or tickets going on sale or anything like that. I was very much a novice at the beginning of it. That's when I started collecting everybody's information at shows and stuff like that. And I was just using Gmail, and eventually then I started using Mailchimp, and then Constant Contact or whatever. But I know from doing that that if somebody reads your email, opens the email or not, and they just see that they have an email from you, they don't know who you are, don't know what it is, or they don't want it, they just hit, they mark it as spam. When that
mhm,
happens, the server can wind up blackballing your email address, right? So I was suggested as a workaround, don't use your personal email address, create a throwaway email address that you don't have anything else attached to just to get that as the vehicle to get everything out there. So how does it
mhm.
work through Bow Trail or something like that? Like if sending, I'm not using my personal email address, I'm using a different platform, but what if, 100 people out of those 1,900 people mark it as spam? Is that a detriment to me other than, losing 100 contacts? But is it a detriment to me as far as having my vehicle for emailing it being blackballed or somehow? You
Yeah,
understand the question?
absolutely. And I would tell you right now, anybody that's on Bold Trail, like for your contacts on Bold Trail, if they're on Bold Trail, that means you do know them some way, shape, or form. And I would only do a bulk or a mass email to your database for a really, really good reason. And then maybe once in a blue moon. But if you got a lot of newer contacts on there, people you've recently added, I would not do a bulk email because you'll get a lot more opt-outs. And here's the problem with people marking you as spam. That's the worst thing that they can do. Too many opt-outs has the same effect, just not as dramatic. And this is what it is. See, if you think about how the technology works, there's actually multiple servers going on. You've got the localized servers, and they're the ones that people like. They'll see if something like if I get an email and I decide to opt out and mark it spam, that's on my server. But the provider, the email provider, Google, right, for example, they have another server much higher up in the chain, and they'll block things there, and neither party, neither sender or receiver will ever even know, right? You'll
Right.
never know that it was blocked at that level. Nobody gets a message. Nobody's asked for to say yes, you want to, confirm whatever that does it. You don't even know about it. And the problem is you will find more of your emails going to people's spam folders. So it's really important to be diligent and be very strategic in your emailing. Um, it really has to be purpose driven. You've got to have a real purpose for it. And wouldn't the only thing that should be automated really is the monthly market update, and that's usually 99% of the time going out via email. That's okay, you know, but because that's going out one at a time, that's not mass or bulk emailing. See that those big servers, they know when it's a mass or bulk email because they can track it. There's a lot of people have Gmail, so when they see the same email content coming through hundreds and thousands of times, man, you get blocked because somebody marked you spam and it's a bulk email, you're toast. They're going to see this
Yeah, I'm
bulk
really
email.
concerned with that.
Yeah. So I
I'm
just
really concerned with that because I've got like six different email addresses at least that I've compiled one list of contacts into.
mhm,
And, I've got those people marked as just like a promote from the Serenade Entertainment Group.
mhm,
But a lot of those people just opted in. They, old school, like they put their name and their phone number or their email address on like a trapper keeper folder kind of a thing from way back in the day on a merch table at a concert, and they just put, I have them as contacts, but I don't have them in any other form of my marketing lists except in the old school contact list through Gmail because they were coming to shows. So it seemed like a, low hanging fruit to me. They go out, they go to shows, they enjoy that kind of music. Maybe they're not familiar with this band that's having a show, but I want them to come and make money off the ticket sale, so I would promote to them to come to the next show. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but I've never included them on anything business wise, like real estate. But I have hundreds of email addresses like that, and I'm just, what do I do with them? So if I add them to, I don't think I want to add those names to my real
Mhm.
estate because I don't want to muddy it up too much, you know?
Yeah.
But would
Yeah.
you advise then, would it be wise for the purposes of Bold Trail to create a new email address that I don't use for anything else? That way, if
Well,
it
actually,
does get,
but I wouldn't use Bull Trail. I would use something else like Survey Monkey or something like that. Use a completely different server and provider altogether, you know. And it's just really honestly, it's just really not worth it. I mean, we've done that kind of thing before, thinking we're gonna mass email through Survey Monkey. There's another one we used to use, and I can't remember what it's called now, but um the bottom line is if you switch around, your contacts are recognizing this, the fact that, wait a minute, I got an email from Survey Monkey from Rob through Survey Monkey last week. Now I'm getting something from Bold Trail. It just creates a negative trigger in their subconscious, you know?
yeah,
So it looks like you're switching around and you're trying to, they're going to think he's getting spammed by Rob. That's what a lot of people will think. I can't really think of a really good reason to do a mass bulk email to a cold audience. I mean, the old days we would do the promote stuff. That's how we would promote stuff. But the way the laws are and the software is so much more sophisticated now. Um, the old rule of thumb is, you know, bring people in legitimately. Contacts you get from other people, like in the grocery store example. You meet a neighbor, you're talking to them. One of their old neighbors walks up, talking to them to introduce you. That's a legitimate contact. Just add them to your database and set them up on a search. Say, look, and take it easy at first. I would even say, you know, hey, I'm learning these new tools, and because I just met you, I want to set you up on a automated market update. It just tells you what's happening in your area, how many active listings, how many have sold, what's pending. It even gives you local data, interest rates, things like that. Would that be okay? We call it permission-based marketing. And most people say, sure, and you set them up and you're starting, now you got them on an automated campaign. And every now and then what you would do is spot check, look for one of the updates that came out with maybe something that went up for sale around our neighborhood. And you call them and say, hey, did you see the one that just came up for sale right around the corner? You realize they're asking 525,000 and your neighborhood's been going for, 450 and 475. Why do you think that is? Just that's the kind of stuff you want to do. That's how you do the business, you know? So,
right.
and everything else, all that social media stuff, you can sell real estate on Facebook. Use Facebook Marketplace. Put all your listings on Facebook. Put them on YouTube. Absolutely. But the main purpose of all those social media uh, venues is to help get people to turn their heads towards you and see you and maybe say, hey, I saw your post the other day on, the state of the economy. I really appreciate you sharing that. I like your style. Let them, they'll respond to you when they find something that they like, when they see something like, then you can start a conversation. That's really how you do the business, you know? Um, that's it in a nutshell. That's how you grow your database. Uh, I'm lucky because I got two virtual assistants. Like what Tom was describing, when you get to where you have people that can do some of that for you, it does make it easier. Absolutely. You know, but you got to start where you are, right where you are with who you are and who you know and what you know, and just start there. When you get to the point where you're making enough money and you're working your butt off, then you bring in somebody else. You know,
Yeah, what is that dollar amount? How much is enough money? I've always wondered.
Everybody's different. I've heard people say, man, I have $1 million, I'd be happy. I've heard other people say 10 million is a magic number. To me, I don't even, it's infinite. To me, it's just another measurement, you know? So now in the old days, yeah, I mean, I had, kids and mortgages and all that stuff. And I had a certain amount of money every month, I mean, I still do, but the point is over time in business, in terms of business, the money becomes a measurement of how well you're doing. It's not the goal. It's not the end goal. It's when you remember it's a lagging indicator. right? So when you make more money, that means your leading indicators must be doing pretty good. So it's a measurement, you know. It really changes how you view it, and it'll help you have financial peace. And you'll find out financial peace could be $100,000, could be 50,000, could be a million. It's just different for everybody. But whatever gives you peace of mind, your bills are paid and you're set. That's your number. It's different for everybody. My needs are
Yeah.
so little right now. I don't have boats and cars, all that crap like I used to. You know, it was all fun and I appreciate it. I love them. But now, you know, I, I was going to say this is going to sound bad if I say this, but you know, I got plenty of friends with boats. You know, I've had 3 boats in my life. I don't feel the need to own another boat.
I've heard more than a few times that's the best kind of boat to own is your buddy's
Yeah,
boat.
yeah.
Yeah, and Rob,
You know,
this business is so relational. It's like once you get your 100 to 200 in your CRM and you're actively pursuing them, making phone calls to them, you can only do so many. You know, I think that
Well,
was that
that's
Jordan
why,
from
yeah,
Send Out
that's why I
Cards.
think it's absurd. I've got 1,900 contacts in my phone,
No,
plus another 400 that are like 2,300 contacts that are business. That's just stupid. 1,900. I mean,
yeah,
I haven't talked to some of these people in a decade, right?
yeah,
And so to speak to that point, when Gary said, "Well, you really wouldn't want to do like a mass email," I don't want to do that either. I want to do more targeted things, right? I think that's just going to be more personable. It's going to
yeah,
work better. But what about from the first couple of emails, especially the first one, to mail maybe everyone? But I don't do all 1,900 at once. I do it over the course of a month, and I email 30% or 20% or 20% or 20. And I just the first email goes out says, "Yo, hey," has my hand in the air, says, "Hey, I'm in real estate, and if you need me for this, whatever," and just letting people know that we're friendly and they're
yeah,
here. They will be hearing from me. Hopefully that's okay. Here's the value that I would like to bring to you. If you want to opt out, cool, do that by this. Because I get emails from people that basically are instructing me how to opt out so that I won't hit, spam. But I think
yeah,
that's one of the only reasons I would want to do a mass email in the beginning. It would be a couple hundred people and say, here, you'll be hearing from me in the future regarding this, and this is the value that I would bring and why. Hopefully, you're you're in agreement with that. Then
yeah.
not my whole list at once, but you know, the quarter of them or something at once. But do you think that's dangerous to do?
I mean, I think as long as you got a system in place where you're making phone calls with them, with those leads, and you're sending them, I mean, that millionaire real estate book, did you used to teach that, Gary? Where, they talk about 33 touches to one person who knows you and the power in that versus 16 to a larger database. I'll
Yeah.
never forget, I was at a seminar one time, and I think I was running a team, I don't know what I was selling, maybe 100 homes a year. And I think it was a Mike Ferry. He said, define a lead, right? And I'm writing down, anybody wants to buy or sell a home in the next year. And the guy sitting next to me said, anybody wants to buy or sell a home in the next 2 weeks. He was doing 450 transactions with one assistant,
Wow.
you know? So it's
Yeah.
just, we got to zero in on what we're really looking for. I think Jordan from Send Out Cards was perfect. I mean, he's got, what,
Yeah.
75, 95 people in his database, and he travels every week to go back and forth to a mastermind group, a BNI. And he makes
Yeah.
what do you do? 4 million last year.
Yeah.
Keep
You
it
know, it's
simple.
interesting you brought that up. Guess what we're going to go over next week?
Good.
Boats and cards. I'm telling you guys, in all the years I've been in business, it's one of it's basically a follow-up type activity. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for lunch. Thank you, whatever. Glad to meet you. Look forward to our another conversation sometime soon. Congratulations. Whatever notes and cards, I'm telling you, will do wonders for your business. I mean, it's in today's world where everything's almost 99% digital. I love it. Sit right tight. I'm going to show you something real quick. Hang on. I got this a month ago. Okay. And it's still sitting on one of my bookcases for a month. Nothing else up there. My emails are sitting up there, but that note sure is. I'm telling you, it's a really good reminder. That's why I put it in the agenda to talk in the first 3 months of the year, make sure notes and cards is one of those things, you know? Yep. Any case, thanks for bringing it up, Tom. I think you were going to bring that up earlier on in that last section of dialogue, and you got it in at the end about notes, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah,
Listen, guys,
I mean, it's just we only have so much time and zero in on the hot leads and the hot relationships, and you don't need all that other stuff. We only have so much mind time for this game.
yeah.
Anyway.
And back to your comment about Tom Ferry or Mike, whichever one of Tom or Mike Ferry. Everybody, I've got to tell you, I would rather have fewer really good, solid contacts than a wide assortment of just a crapshoot. I've lived that life before. I would much rather have fewer really good people.
Yeah.
Would you agree, Tom? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, hashtags, you could hashtag by subdivision. So every time you see a new listing, call everybody in that subdivision that's in your database and say, hey, just saw a new house in the area. I mean, just focus on that small database. Yeah. We just waste too much time on
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm with you guys on that. I don't think I need 10% of the people that are in my database.
No.
I don't need,
No.
And then the other thing too, I've got, like I said, 6 or 7 different email addresses that I've used over the years for different business efforts. I have a ton of email addresses with no name. I just got the email address and that's all I've got. And I just need to trash those. I just need to swallow a gulp, delete, and because I've been holding on to them for a decade. 15, 20 years probably. And I just need to get rid of them because they're not doing me any good. I mean, I feel like it's valuable. I feel like it's valuable because it's data. People sell leads, but it's not really a lead. It could be a dead email address. It's not a lead for anything.
I think tomorrow. Just hit delete. It's pretty easy to delete a couple thousand at a time.
Guys, here's a homework assignment. Please write this down. If you haven't already started tonight, go ahead and between now and next week. If you don't have all your contacts loaded, make the commitment to get them loaded. And the way I recommend you do this is if the bulk uploading doesn't make sense for you or whatever reason you want to do them one at a time, pick one letter a day. Do the A tomorrow, the B's on Wednesday, the C's on Thursdays. Just go through alphabetically, load your records that way. Just break it down into smaller chunks, right? And while you're doing that, tag them. Okay, make sure you tag them, get that going. And then this time next week before class, go ahead and put on your first campaign because you'll have essentially, 7 letters done, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's a pretty big chunk right there, right? And in 4 weeks, you'll have everybody up and running. Just break it down like that. Promise yourself. So make the commitment to yourself. Tom's right. If your database is your gold, and if you nail this early in the year, just put your head down and just do it. I promise you're going to be grateful. You're going to have yourself some financial peace, right? And everything else will get easier. It's one of those things. The book, The One Thing. This is one of those one things that if you nail this, it makes other things easier or no longer necessary. Okay. This is one of those one things in this business. It's the one thing. That's why we go over it so much, repetition is the mother of learning. Okay. Hey guys, thanks for participating. PF, Rob, Tom, everybody here, Grace, Lily, Marianne, Kathleen, Willette, Jackie, and I think some are less. Good to see you. All right. Mark Phillips, I didn't even see you out there. Holy cow, I'm sorry. Good to see you, Mark. Yeah. But you guys have a good night. God bless you and all your loved ones. I'll see you on the one-on-ones. I'll see you on the huddles. And I'll see you next week. We're going to go over notes and cards. I'll show you my system that I use. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Thank you for watching Monday Night Live. Consider subscribing. Agents, want to learn more? Schedule a call with Gary using the link in the description.